The United States is considering a dramatic escalation in its support for Ukraine, supplying Tomahawk cruise missiles. President Trump said he may offer these long-range weapons if Putin refuses to settle the war. This isn't just another weapons package. It could fundamentally change the conflict.
So we'll see. Well, I don't know. I might have to speak to Russia, to be honest with you, about Tomahawks. Do they want to have Tomahawks going in their direction? I don't think so. I think I might speak to Russia about that, in all fairness. I told that to President Zelensky, because Tomahawks are a new step of aggression. Right? You understand that very well.
Are you saying that you will speak to Putin first about Tomahawks?
I might talk to him. I might say, look, if this war's not going to get settled, I'm going to send him Tomahawks.
Here's why this matters. Ukraine's current longest-range weapons, ATACMS and Storm Shadow, reach only about 300 kilometers. The Tomahawk extends that to 2,500 kilometers, more than 8 times further. Suddenly, Moscow itself is within theoretical reach. This isn't incremental, it's transformational. The Tomahawk is a subsonic cruise missile designed for precision strikes. Unlike ballistic missiles that soar high into space, it flies low and level, hugging terrain to avoid radar. It's slower than the speed of sound, but what it lacks in speed, it makes up for in stealth and accuracy. Its purpose is simple: to slip under detection and strike without warning. How does it find its target with such precision? The Tomahawk uses 3 navigation systems simultaneously: GPS for satellite positioning, inertial guidance that tracks its own movement, and terrain contour matching, which literally reads the ground below like a 3D map to know exactly where it is at every moment. The version likely to be supplied carries a conventional explosive warhead, not nuclear. That distinction matters, but it doesn't calm Moscow. Russia fears that even a conventional Tomahawk introduces a dual-use capability, a delivery system that could theoretically carry a nuclear payload later. That's why the Kremlin views it as a strategic, not tactical escalation. What would Ukraine actually target? President Zelensky has said the missiles would be used only against military sites, air bases, launching strikes, command centers, coordinating operations, logistics hubs, and ammunition depots. Right now, those facilities lie deep inside Russian territory, effectively out of reach of existing Ukrainian weapons.
I just spoke with U.S. President Donald Trump for the second time in recent days. We are working closely with the United States to strengthen ourselves, our air defense, all our defensive capabilities, primarily Patriots, other systems, as well as our active operations and long-range capabilities. We see and hear that Russia fears the possibility of the United States providing us with Tomahawks. It is a signal that this kind of pressure can be effective in achieving peace.
For Russia, this presents a massive defensive problem. Protecting against Tomahawks would require redeploying its S-400 and Panzer air defense systems along its entire western frontier, from Kaliningrad to the Urals, a stretch of thousands of kilometers. Analysts say Russia simply doesn't have enough systems to cover that distance without weakening defenses elsewhere. Moscow is treating this as an existential threat. President Putin has warned that supplying Tomahawks would destroy US-Russia relations and push the conflict into a qualitatively new stage. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov called it a matter of extreme concern. The message from Moscow is unmistakable. This crosses a red line.
Can Tomahawks harm us? They can. We will shoot them down and improve our air defense systems. Will this damage our relations, which have begun to show some light at the end of the tunnel? Of course it will. But how could it be otherwise? Using Tomahawks without the direct participation of American military personnel is impossible. This would mark a completely new, qualitatively new stage of escalation, including in relations between Russia and the United States.
Here's the dangerous part. Russia claims that operating Tomahawks requires direct U.S. involvement in targeting and guidance. If a Tomahawk were to strike deep inside Russia, Moscow could choose to interpret it as an American attack, not a Ukrainian one. That's the core escalation risk, turning a proxy conflict into a direct US-Russia confrontation. So where do things stand right now? The US has not formally committed to the transfer. Discussions are still under active review. Kyiv and Washington are negotiating possible usage rules and control mechanisms. Meanwhile, Moscow continues to issue stark warnings. This isn't just about missiles. It's about managing the most dangerous escalation ladder since the war began.